Hello everybody, and today we have week number 8, and name of our topic is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is the topic that is very important to discuss and to be aware of the problems of the cybersecurity and how can we circumvent the situation or avoid the danger of the different attacks that may happen, and how to protect yourself, your data, your business, and your workflow from different threats. So, what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is a protection of all of your electronic devices, all of your information, all of your hardware and software from malicious attacks, and typically from losing your reputation, your money, and your life. And we have to first remind the first hacker. He actually was not the first hacker, but the first hacker who was convicted for his crimes, for stealing the information that belonged to different corporations, and it was Kevin Mitnick. And in 1995 he was arrested for 5 years, and after this 5 years he actually founded his company for consulting large corporations, including those corporations that are from 500 fortunes, and he provided a service how to protect yourself from people like he was, and from different threats of data loss and sensitive information loss, and even the breakout of the business. And hacking in general happened much earlier. For example, if we'll take a look at the history of Enigma, and we'll talk about Alan Turing. He was a man who found a way how can we crack the encrypted algorithm of encryption, and how can we crack encrypted data to extract the information that is actually hidden within this data. And his actions, his endeavors helped to win the war, actually the Second World War. And he actually helped the intelligence agencies to get more information of the opponents from Germany, and how can they apply their actions or counter actions according to the information that they have decoded from the data transmission between the different troops of the Germany company. Another person is very interesting is Julian Paul Assange, that is famous for the data leakage and publication of this data leakage to the wide society. And he actually was convicted for the crimes of hacking. And from the early ages, just like Kevin Mitnick, he was interested in the electronics, in the computer science, in the programming, and he was always interested in the way of finding the breaches or vulnerabilities in the existing systems, and found the way how can we use these vulnerabilities and transform into exploits that can help us to manipulate, to control, and even to break down the initial system. And the third person that I would like to notice about is the Edward Snowden, an American employee from the National Security Agency that is widely known as the whistleblower, and actually was hiding in Russian Federation area for many years, and now he is famous for the for the prompting the personal security questions and the national security and the privacy. And the cybersecurity and control of the internet, so now we need to consider how much data is stored now within an internet, and how can you keep your privacy, and how can you be aware of what kind of malicious software or what kind of attack can harm you, your life, your business, or a workflow. And let's take a look, where do we store our information? In our messages that are typically stored in the cloud-based email system, our data that is stored within our mobile phones as photographies, like contacts, like memos, like records in our schedule, our credit card numbers, educational data that is stored within universities or even in the cloud system, like a centralized government system of the education control, and your identity data that is stored in the ministry of our governments, some identity data that you store in clouds, or some identity data that you store in your personal computer, the medical information that is now stored within our hospitals and our in different organizations, and employment data that is stored within your corporation about you, and how much data is accessible publicly and how much data is typically restricted from the access, and how can you control this restriction, and how can you be aware of your safety. And here we will talk about the biggest data breaches. According to this, a big amount of data that is stored within an internet, and now one of the biggest breaches that brought $1 million loss for the corporation like Yahoo, that in between 2013 and 2014 lost 3 billion personal data, or 3 billion user contacts that are stored within their system. And according to this information that they had to publicate within, as they are open organization, and within their contract with Verizon, this information influenced the price loss and price drop within a contract. So this data breach and this data loss cost a lot of money for the Yahoo. And the Marriott International, the holding or corporation for the hospitality, and between the 2014 and 2018, they lost more than 500 million customer data, according to the public information. And what it cost to Marriott International, no one knows, but we can see here that the inappropriate actions that we apply to store our data or to protect our data may cost a lot of money. The eBay corporation, that is online market, stated that in May in 2014 they lost more than 150 million user accounts with their credit card numbers and even more, so that within 229 days all this data was actually available and publicly accessible to anyone. And if we'll take a look, another breach, the Uber corporation, the largest taxi company, that published in late 2016 that they have lost the information about 57 million users of their system, including the 600,000 data about the cars and the license plates of these cars. And typically what was very interesting is that the Uber have made a very great mistake while doing their application. They have stored the sensitive information within a cloud service of GitHub. The GitHub is a special service that help you to work on the same project with a different team, with a different number of people, and access the same resources and modify the same documents simultaneously. And within this cloud system, they have stored the account, the user ID and password for their Amazon Web Service account. So they made it possible for all of the people to connect to the initial hosting system and to steal the data that is stored within. So the problem was that the head of this corporation, they have fired this chief technical officer, and they have paid $100,000 for those who have found this breach, and for guarantees that they will re-raise all of the data without any prompt of the accuracy of how have they stored or how have they erased the initial data. And it is claimed that the information that was lost, and according to this mistake, influenced the initial price drop when the Uber corporation made a deal with an institutional investor.